Well, Liberal Simon Birmingham announced his retirement from the Senate last week, warning his colleagues to avoid divisive culture wars. Moderates like Birmingham pretend they are above such Trumpian populism. But here's what avoiding divisive culture wars means for politicians like Birmingham. On Tuesday last week, he said he would never vote for medical care to be given to babies gasping for breath after being born alive after surviving their abortion.
President, I do not support the bill that is the subject of this discharge motion. Like Senators Hume, Kovacic and a number of my colleagues, I would not and will not ever vote for this bill or any measures that restrict women's reproductive rights.
Now, he said this during a debate on a Greens motion to throw out Senator Matt Canavan's and Alex Antica's Human Rights Children Born Alive Protection Bill, a bill which has been languishing on the notice paper since the Morrison years. Now, a more callous remark has probably never been uttered in the Australian Senate. Birmingham can't be so naive to think that the bill would restrict women's reproductive rights, because it doesn't. But politicians like Birmingham fear bills like the Human Rights Children Born Alive Protection Bill because they tell the truth about Australia's grisly abortion practices, something politicians like him, the radical left and the media conspire to suppress. That's why they fight the culture wars but label anyone who opposes them as Trumpian. The radical Labor Senator Penny Wong, one of Birmingham's fellow travellers ideologically, paid tribute to him, thanking him for helping her, redefine marriage in law back in 2017, a move which deliberately denies children the right of the love of their mother and father. So-called marriage equality also unleashed stage 2 of the LGBTIQA+ woke war on gender and freedom of religion. Faith-based schools are in the fight of their lives as LGBTIQA+ activists have driven legislation which, if passed, would end a school's ability to teach the truth about marriage and gender. Thousands of Australian children have now been indoctrinated into taking sterilising puberty blockers, and gender clinics are referring girls for breast removal surgery. I kid you not. In this term of Parliament, Simon Birmingham voted against every attempt to shine a light on the scandalous medical experiment being conducted upon gender-confused children. Thanks, Burmo, for avoiding the culture wars. In his valedictory speech, he openly ridiculed the Conservatives in the coalition, mocking them for supposedly obsessing over what happens in private bedrooms, end quote. Now, the truth is, no one cares what people do in their bedrooms. It's the harm Birmingham's LGBTIQA+ political activist mates want to do to children in the classroom and the hospital gender clinics that is of concern to the social conservatives in the Liberal Party. But for a guy hailed for his supposed intellect, he prefers demonisation over debate. In true Orwellian form, the Liberals and the Nationals call parliamentarians like Birmingham moderates. Now, as the chief Marxist Saul Alinsky wrote in Rules for Radicals, he who controls the language controls the masses. Birmingham and the power brokers who control the Liberal Party are anything but moderate. But the masses in the party room have succumbed to this misuse of language. The Liberal and National Party's problem is their enemies within. While Joseph Stalin coined the phrase useful idiot to describe those unwittingly batting for the other side, Birmingham knew exactly what he was doing. He was more fifth column. How such an ally of the radical left rose to become Peter Dutton's main man in the Senate goes to the heart of the problem with the coalition. I can't really recall any Liberals and Nationals ever calling Birmingham out publicly on his callous views about babies or his support for the reckless gender medicine experiment on children. Maybe they did in private, but winning political arguments is about public advocacy. The left always fights in public, and when they do, they slap down opposition by labelling it divisive culture wars. Those who promote harmful policy in public must be challenged in public. But Peter Dutton has gagged his MPs and senators from talking about abortion. Silence in the face of evil is evil. Not to speak is to speak, Dietrich Bonhoeffer famously said. Simon Birmingham had a dream run in the Senate for 18 years, never having to publicly defend his advocacy for abortion to birth or for irreversibly harming children through LGBTIQA+ gender fluid ideology. He fought the culture wars right to the end, all the while pretending anything other than his worldview was just Trumpian popularism. You see, moderates are allowed to fight the culture wars, and they do so by telling everyone else to shut up. It's one rule for me, another for thee. While ever the Liberals fail to publicly contest the ideas of their enemies within, they will continue to lose the culture wars. Those hurt by the Simon Birminghams of politics are the unborn, their mothers, and gender-confused children.